What a night, huh? TikTok is done, and so are the Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And a pleasant good evening, everybody. It is obviously a Saturday evening, January 18th, and a Sunday, January 19th. It's Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Derry with you, a stunner tonight at Ford Field. I feel so horrible for everybody involved here. I feel horrible for the Lions. I feel horrible for the organization. I feel horrible for you, the fans. Tonight was awful. Awful. The Lions got thoroughly embarrassed by the Commanders tonight. Washington will advance to the NFC Championship game for the first time in over 30 years. The Lions season's over. 45-31 final. Commanders coming to Ford Field and beat the Lions at their own game. They won the turnover battle 5-0. +5 in turnovers were the Commanders. And they pushed Detroit around. You got a sense from the get-go tonight that this was going to be trouble. And the Commanders and their rookie quarterback, Jayden Daniels, move on. The Lions now have to lick their wounds, get healthy, and return to prominence next season, which I think they can do. But a disappointing night for the Lions. A 15-win season, home field advantage, the road to the Super Bowl and the NFC going through Detroit. And they got smacked around tonight. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We'll dissect this game. We'll tell you about some more injuries that occurred tonight. We will hand out some game balls. Again, thanks for making us your first listen, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts, as it is a Saturday evening and a Sunday morning in which the Detroit Lions season comes to an end. I had a bad feeling. Look, first of all, I'm the one that told you yesterday that the Lions were going to win. So I was wrong. All right. I was very wrong. But one thing I'll say is just from the beginning of the game, like the Lions went 3 and out to start the game and Jahmyr Gibbs was on the sidelines. And it's like, what are they doing? God bless David Montgomery. He's great. He's awesome. All right. He's back. They introduced him last so he could get a great ovation from the crowd tonight at Ford Field. But I'm sorry, Jahmyr Gibbs has to be on the field. Then the second drive, after the Commanders went up 3-0, Jahmyr Gibbs is on the field. The Lions go right down the field and score a touchdown and take a 7-3 lead. And, Jahmyr Gibbs was the one that scored a touchdown and got them down the field. 12 men on the field on defense. Dan Campbell doesn't call a timeout. They get the penalty, and the Commanders go in and score. Jared Goff holding the football like it's, like he's playing frolf. That's Frisbee golf, for those of you that don't know. That's a George Costanza. I remember in the Summer of George on Seinfeld. He wanted to play frolf. Goff throwing pick sixes. Cheap shots by the Commanders. Blows to the head. Frankie Louvu smashes Goff on the pick six. Not called. Jameson Williams throwing passes in the fourth quarter. What are we doing? This was an unprepared football team tonight. And we're recording before Dan Campbell hits the podium. I don't know what he's going to say, but the Lions looked unprepared. It's stunning. It's an absolute stunner because the Commanders came in a 9.5-point underdog. That's a good football team. No one ever said Washington wasn't good. But the Lions off a week of rest. Back at home. Good momentum. Good matchup with Washington because the Lions can run the rock and the Commanders can't stop the run. And tonight, looking at the stats, the Lions ran for, where is it? Lions ran for 200 yards. Problem was the Commanders ran for 182. Where were the interior? Where was the D line tonight? Oh my God. Awful. Couldn't get to Daniels. Couldn't stop the run. It was a unmitigated disaster from the beginning. Now, again, Lions took a lead early. Lions made it a 3-point game in the third quarter, made it interesting, but they could never stop Washington. And I don't want to hear about, well, Aaron Glenn's now not going to get a head coaching job because tonight was bad. Come on. Aaron Glenn deserves to be a head coach. Ben Johnson still deserves to be a head coach. Oh, by the way, the sky's not falling. Don't tell me that the Lions missed their opportunity and the window's closing and the season's over and the run is over and next year they'll be lucky to win 9 games. And oh, no, this is a good football team with a ton of young talent. And oh, by the way, didn't have their best defensive players tonight. And I know they've been battling through injuries. And I know that 2 weeks ago against Minnesota, they put on a defensive clinic against the Vikings. Problem was, that was Sam Darnold. Tonight, they faced Jayden Daniels. Shout out to the Bears, by the way. Can you imagine being a Bears fan tonight watching this game? You drafted the wrong guy. Jayden Daniels is special. He's not just good. He's special. He carved the Lions up all night. Anytime Caleb Williams doesn't know how much time is on the clock against the Lions. This was a show put on by the Commanders, but I've not seen a team push the Lions around like this all year. And I know the Bills did it, but not this physical. The Bills were really good against the Lions and kind of, brought the Lions down a peg at Ford Field back in December. That was an ass kicking by Buffalo. But tonight was a physical, in your face beatdown by Washington. They beat the Lions at their game. I mean, it was just every time a Lion got tackled, they felt it. You could, watching it on TV, you could just feel it. You could hear it. Even the cheap shot that Luvu had on Goff, like just everything. The Lions were beat up tonight. They got beat up. And you got to give Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Witt, their defensive coordinator, a lot of credit. Those guys outcoached Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn. They just did. And this happens. This is the tournament. The Lions, this was their first game of the tournament. We saw what happened last year. The Lions snuck up on people. The Lions outcoached the opposite. Come on, Dan Campbell ran circles around Todd Bowles in the divisional round last year when Tampa came in and the Lions beat him. Bowles had no idea how to call timeout, had no idea how to clock manage, and the Lions moved on to the NFC Championship game. Tonight, unfortunately, it was not Detroit's night. I'm flabbergasted at this one. I wish I could tell you I saw this coming. I wish I could tell you, oh man, I knew Jayden Daniels was going to be good. And I knew that Scary Terry was going to have his moments tonight. And he did. Amik Robertson getting hurt was a killer, an absolute killer. Because there's a giant drop-off between Amik Robertson and Kindle Vildor. There's a giant drop-off between Ife Melifonwu and Mo Norris. Maurice Norris played one defensive snap all season before tonight. And he's out there for the entire second half, basically, having to play safety. Some guy named Stantley was out there. I don't even know who he is. Like, the Lions were down to 5th and 6th stringers. But no excuse. I'm sorry, Josh Paschal, when you are unblocked on back-to-back plays, put your hands up, knock the pass down, or get to the quarterback. He was terrible tonight. Terrible. When you go unblocked, you've got to make a play. Lions defense gave up 38 points tonight at home. Lions defense gave up 40 plus against the Bills. It's been hit or miss, and I get it. No Aiden Hutchinson, no Aleem McNeil, no Derek Barnes. Robertson goes out. Davis was out. And the Lions have got to find a way to bring Carlton Davis back next year because he's vital to that defense. They can't re-sign everybody. I get it. Maybe Onwuzurike played his last game as a Lion. Maybe Kevin Zeitler's going to have to leave based on money. Maybe he comes back on another one-year deal. You hope he does. Maybe Melifonwu moves on. I know a team like the Colts would love to have him. You can't keep everybody. Ben Johnson, you figure has to be gone. Aaron Glenn maybe is gone. Other members of the staff. That's what makes this so disappointing, because this was a special season. And I'm not going to poo-poo the season and just base everything on tonight. I won't do that. Is it disappointing? Yes. Is it stunning? Yes. Did they gag a little bit? Yeah, they did. 12 men penalty on 4th and 2, 4th and goal at the 2. That's some Jim Caldwell stuff there. My God. Horrible. Horrible. Matt Derry with you, Locked On Lions, a special Saturday night edition. Lions fall to the Commanders 45-31. We got to give Washington some credit. We will do that coming up next. We got to talk about the turnovers as well tonight, because that was just completely unacceptable. And we will hand out some game balls. There are some game balls to hand out. Much more to do on this post-game edition of Locked On Lions. And our program tonight brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. Growing your small business in 2025 comes down to how well you can hire, of course. And let's face it, better hires start with smarter insights. That's where LinkedIn comes in. With the strongest hiring data available, LinkedIn helps you identify the right candidates, giving you the confidence to make the best decisions for your business. I've used LinkedIn Jobs myself, and I can tell you it's a game changer when it comes to hiring the right fit. Small businesses are wearing a lot of hats, so every hire is crucial. LinkedIn gets that. That's why they connect you with the best candidates using data you won't find anywhere else. From unique skills and interests to the connections you share, LinkedIn helps you find the right person for the job. In fact, 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn has helped them find high-quality candidates. Hire smarter this year, folks. Do it. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. I'm back on a post-game edition of a Locked On Lions Saturday night into Sunday edition. Lions season comes to an end in the second round of the playoffs. Lions' first game in the tournament, and it was all Washington. The Commanders beat them tonight 45-31, and it wasn't even that close, to be quite honest with you. Commanders has had their number from start to finish. Shout out to our everydayers who are out there that watch and listen to the podcast daily. Look, the season might be over, but I'm going to be with you every day, Monday through Friday, here on out. We'll talk off season. We'll talk everything. A lot to get into. I'll be back on Monday on MLK Day to get you a fresh show. I promise. I'm not going anywhere. I love this show. I love being a part of your lives as Lions fans. I appreciate all of you. Find me on social media and everything else. Appreciate all of you. All right. It's very disappointing. You hear the tone of my voice. I keep it real. You guys know that. Keep it real. This sucks. This absolutely sucks. Jayden Daniels tonight put on a show. Second overall pick in the draft by the Commanders after their 4 wins last year. Think about that for a second. We talk about the Lions turnaround, which is impressive. But Dan Campbell, Adam Peters, their GM, or not Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn, excuse me, Adam Peters, their GM, and everybody else. How do you think Martin Mayhew must be dying right now, laughing, and Anthony Lynn and all these people that were former Lions? But Jayden Daniels tonight throws for 299 yards, a passer rating of 122.9, 2 touchdowns, ran for 51 yards, and he controlled this game. And the Lions had no answers for him. None. And what's funny is all these people say, well, the Lions are susceptible to running quarterbacks. They're not good against mobile quarterbacks. Tell me who is. Who's good against mobile quarterbacks? The problem tonight was the Commanders' game plan and just how physical they were too much for the Lions. They were fantastic. Absolutely great. Mikey Sandristil, the former Michigan Wolverine with a pair of interceptions. The second one, if Goff throws that ball earlier and in front of Jameson Williams at the touchdown. Jared Goff tonight was brutal. He was. Am I telling you it's Hendon Hooker time? No, it's not. Jared Goff has 4 more years in his contract. He had a fantastic season. He was a Pro Bowl. But tonight, 3 interceptions, sacked twice, a passer rating of 59.7. 1 point in the game tonight, Jared had to come out of the game after the cheap shot from Luvu, came back in, but he never had it tonight. You could just tell Jared Goff didn't have it. You give the Commanders some credit. They bothered him immensely. Lions still put up 31 points offensively, but like I said, I question starting the game with Jahmyr Gibbs on the bench. Think about the first 3 minutes of the game. Lions go 3 and out, right? Gibbs is on the bench. Jack Fox, who always downs the punts inside the 20, shanks one to the 20. And then Amik Robertson, 2 plays in or 3 plays in on defense, from what I understand, broke his arm. And by the way, watch the replay of the Amik Robertson injury. What is Jack Campbell doing running over there at the end of the play and just smashing into his own teammate with his head down? Just a reckless decision by Campbell. And I know Jack Campbell tonight had 14 tackles and everything else, but he also injured his own player. Like head down, just smashes into Amik Robertson for no reason. It was reckless. The whole night just had a bad feel to it. It was just a bad vibe. But you got to give Washington credit. They came in with a great game plan. Their play action game and the RPOs and everything else was phenomenal. Every time the Lions came with a blitz, the Commanders had an answer for it. Every time. The 1 touchdown to Terry McLaurin, let me find it here. Was it 57 yards? The 58-yard touchdown pass to McLaurin was against the blitz. And, Lions didn't have a single sack tonight. Let me look up their pressures and quarterback hits. The Lions tonight had two quarterback hits tonight. And that's it. Not going to get it done. Zadarius Smith had one of the quarterbacks. Zadarius Smith had no tackles tonight, by the way. Amon-Ra St. Brown had more tackles tonight than Zadarius Smith. Smith and Vildor had quarterback hit. Onzarike and Pascal had quarterback hits tonight. Zadarius Smith did have a pass defended. Too many injuries, man. Too many injuries. It caught up to him tonight. When they were out, when Branch was out and Robertson was out and Iffy was out, you're seeing Mo Norris out there and others, and that's rough. But give the Commanders some credit. As far as the turnovers go, you cannot win. And I know the Lions won in Houston earlier in the year with 5 turnovers, but you cannot win when you're -5 in the turnover game. Jared Goff holding the ball too long, fumbles. The pick 6 where he had Laporta for a quick out, open in the flat, didn't get it to him. Overshot Tim Patrick, and the pick 6 was there. The other interception in the end zone. And Ben Johnson is a genius. There were some play calls tonight that were just amazing. The David Montgomery pitch to Amon-Ra St. Brown, kind of a double pitch play, was awesome. The Jameson Williams reverse for a touchdown, incredible. Great calls by Ben Johnson. But in the fourth quarter of a tight game, like you're down 10, why are you running a double reverse pass with Jameson Williams? Why? Why are you doing that? You knew he was throwing an interception. The minute that you could tell that Gibbs was covered down the field, and I'm watching J-Mo, instead of just running out of bounds or throwing it out of bounds, when I'm watching him load up that bazooka, I knew what was coming. Awful call. I get you want to get the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs, and he was on a wheel route covered by San Still and one other defender. Throwing the ball into double coverage with a wide receiver as the trigger man was absolutely horrible. It was horrible. And Jahmyr Gibbs tonight had a great game, and they should have found any way to just get him the ball because he was a guy that was feeling it. But I'd rather it be Jared Goff getting the ball, not Jameson Williams. It was just decisions like that tonight that have you scratching your head. But again, we could sit here and rip on the offense and the play calling and the turnovers. And yes, the turnovers were bad. The defense gave up 38 points tonight. They could not get a stop. Even when they finally got a stop, they got lucky with like Zane Gonzalez missing a field goal. But I believe the punter for the Commanders, Tress Way, what did he have? One punt tonight? Yeah, the Lions forced one Tress Way punt, 2 Zane Gonzalez field goals. I mean, they gave up 182 yards on the ground. They gave up 300 yards of passing yards, over 480 yards of total offense. That's not going to get it done. And they battled their asses off all year, despite all the injuries. And that's the thing that has me feeling good about next year. You're going to get Aiden Hutchinson back. You're going to get Aleem McNeil back. There is no way next season you're going to have 18 defensive players on injured reserve. No way. That's not going to happen again. That's what makes me feel good about next year. It still doesn't remove the sting from tonight because tonight flat out sucks. It does. It sucks. 45-31 Commanders. They beat the Lions at Ford Field tonight. NFC Championship game now could end up being an NFC East battle. It could be end up being Philly or Washington. And if the Rams can beat the Eagles tomorrow, could you imagine LA with everything that they've been through hosting the NFC Championship game? It could happen because it will be the Rams hosting the Commanders. We'll take another timeout. We'll come right back, hand out some game balls coming up next. And Locked On Lions tonight brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $350 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings, all right? Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered, all right? Games tomorrow in the NFL playoffs, 2 of them, Baltimore and Buffalo. Philly and the Rams should be exciting. You want to put some money down on the games, player props, whatever, do it at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. Get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. $45-31 Commanders knock off the Lions tonight. Most points ever scored by a road team in the NFC playoffs. Most points ever scored by a 9.5-point underdog or more in the playoffs. A lot of records were broken tonight as the rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels is taking his team to the NFC Championship game. I got SVP at ESPN's got to be going nuts. He loves his Commanders, as does Fox 2's Greg Canner, the producer extraordinaire. It was just one of those nights, man. It was horrible. Horrible. Lions were just not prepared tonight. Outcoached, outplayed, out-physicaled, everything. Game balls. We will hand out some game balls here as the Lions lose 45-31 to Washington. 4th time the Lions have played Washington in the playoffs. Maybe it was an omen when Joe Gibbs walked into Ford Field tonight. Did you see that? Joe Gibbs in the house? Jello, LiAngelo Ball performed tonight. Maybe he was a bad luck charm. The hip-hop song that everybody loves. I feel sorry for my wife and everybody else that's on TikTok. TikTok is gone, at least for the time being. Who knows? What a world we're in. Something that brings people joy. Sure, let's just take it away. Oh, God. All right. Lions tonight gave up 31 points in the first half. I can't with a straight face give any game balls out to anybody on the defense. I can't do it. I mean, I was thinking Alex Anzalone because the flowing blonde locks, Gaines media poster boy. You know what? Screw it. It's my show. I can do what I want. I'm giving Alex Anzalone a game ball. I thought he played well. 12 solo tackles, 2 TFLs. He's the one defensive player I'm giving a game ball to. Alex Anzalone. On the offensive side of the ball, 2 game balls. One is Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries, 105 yards. 7.5 yards a carry. 2 touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs tonight. He was tremendous. Also caught 6 passes for 70 yards. 175 yards of total offense from Jahmyr Gibbs. Next time, please start him. When the game starts, have him on the field. I don't care if you want Montgomery out there. Have Gibbs out there as a decoy. Please, and thank you to whoever is the offensive coordinator next year. Amon-Ra St. Brown also gets a game ball. 8 catches, 137 yards. Did all he could to get his team back in it and keep his team in the game. Those 2 guys get game balls from me. And the officiating tonight, by the way, and look, the referees did not cost the Lions the game, but the officiating tonight was horrible. How do you miss Luvu's cheap shot on Goff? And how about the Lions get stuffed on a 3rd and 2 with David Montgomery in the backfield early in the 3rd quarter, and they call a face mask when the guy never even touched Montgomery's face mask? There were a couple of plays tonight. You remember the one play where Brian Branch tackled the receiver, and the receiver got up and acted like he wasn't on the ground, and the side judge is like, "Oh yeah, let's just mark the ball 10 yards up. He wasn't down." Everybody saw his arm hit the ground. Like, come on, guys, what are we doing? Season's over, folks. God, this sucks. Absolutely sucks. But this team's not going anywhere. This team is strong, and the organization is strong. And I know they're going to lose some coaches and everything else, and some guys will be gone, but there's a lot of young talent on this team. I'm not giving up on this organization. I'm not going to tell you that the window's closed and this was their best chance. This was a great chance. Having home field, being the 1 seed, which the Lions have never been, great chance. But I think they'll be back. I do. Hope everybody has a good rest of the weekend. I don't really know what else to say. Lions got their clocks clean tonight. We'll have more on Monday's edition of Locked On Lions. We'll get you the PFF grades and everything else and talk more about this on Monday's Locked On Lions. Take care, everybody. Have a great, safe rest of your holiday weekend.